Hey there, Omaha. Welcome into another episode of Restaurant Hoppen. I'm your host, Dan Hoppen, and my guests today are the owners of a new barbecue joint that I'm a big fan of. But if you go expecting to find brisket and burn ends on the regular menu, you're going to be a little bit disappointed. Instead, you're going to find them highlighting smoked meats like bologna and turkey and pulled pork, sausage. Yes, this place is a little bit different from your typical barbecue spot, but that's why we're highlighting them today. This is Lazy Buffalo BBQ and the owners, Evan, Keelan, and Brady Hess. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us in today.
This is fun.
So, because we've got multiple voices on the podcast today, I would love to start with each of you just introducing yourselves so audio listeners can figure out who's who, and then maybe just give me like a 30-second to 1 minute synopsis on what you love about barbecue, or what got you into smoking meats originally.
My name is Evan Keelan White. I've been working at the adjacent business, Scriptown Brewing Company, for nearly a decade. That's who I am. I honestly, it's less about the barbecue and more about what barbecue does to people as bringing people together and the education behind it. Because it's really not as simple as just, throwing on a burger or, pizza, having enough to make several in a day. It's really, the pars are important, and the science behind what you can and can't do with your space is important. And that's kind of my joy in it, and getting to know people and having fun and kind of being like, who is that guy that just ran me my food? I want to be that guy that, it's fun and exciting, and it makes it more about the experience than just
Create relationships.
Yeah, the relationship.
Yeah.
But barbecue's important. I think Brady's dedication to barbecue is what really got me interested in working with him, and obviously we've known each other for a while, so that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. I'm Brady Hess. Do most of the smoking. Evan and I have been buddies for a long time. We grew up in a similar sized towns and met in college and became buddies pretty fast, and it quickly just became a thing where we started doing pop-ups, and it only made sense to go into business with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So if somebody's listening to this or watching this and they haven't been into Lazy Buffalo BBQ yet, how do you describe it to somebody visiting for the first time?
I call it express barbecue because the spot itself is it's less than 400 square feet.
It's tiny.
So the biggest thing with why we don't have a lot of menu items at this point is because there's just only so many places to put a Mary Chef or a warmer or an oven. I mean, we have such a tight spot, so we have to make our menu very streamlined.
We're constantly playing Tetris with that space and just trying to figure out easier ways to do, not easier way, but better ways to utilize that space, to do fun things that we can actually achieve and roll out in a good time and make people happy.
Just fast and efficient, and comfort food, personal touch on the food. He's touching every plate that comes out. The guy that smokes the food, that's important too. Obviously, somewhere down the line, he needs to have a day off. He can't do it every day, but he is right now. He's working real hard to deliver. So just, a fun, easygoing, unpretentious, fast, efficient.
Speaking of the space, for anyone, if anyone is watching or listening during this and they're like, dang, I got to get to this place. I got to figure this out. Right off 40th and Farnham, you guys are right in the heart of the Blackstone district. If people are familiar with the former Kathmandu Momo Station location, that's where they're posting up now. And like you mentioned, Evan, very, very small restaurant, but you can get your barbecue and go next door to Scriptown and eat your meal there. Or you can even just go to Scriptown. You can order from Scriptown, correct? You guys have menus on the tables there?
Yeah, that was the plan, but it just got a little too messy with just ordering and, at the end of the night, how are the checks going to be split around? So at this point, you can hang out in Scriptown and then walk to Lazy Buffalo and order.
Wipe what I said from the record. Don't listen to me. Just go into the restaurant, order your food. If you want to go next door and eat it, fantastic.
Or take it home or sit on 40th Street.
That was the plan at first, but we realized really fast that it was better for everybody to just order at the counter. Scriptown staff, our staff, and just keeping up on ticket times and everything like that. Our soft opening was a real quick change around.
We learned in about 4.5 minutes that it wasn't going to work.
The
but
next
we had like
morning
4 hours to go.
At 8 a.m. we changed everything that we thought we were going to do. And that's been a learning experience, but it took us about 48 hours to fix it and make things better and make things just more approachable for everybody. You got to walk down there. It's 20 feet from Script
Town. It's not
Town,
a big deal.
If that, but then we'll drop your food off to you, so you can go and you either have a beer at Script Town or you get takeout. But 10 to 15 minutes, you're gonna have your food out, and we'll run it out to you. And we like that too, of like running it out to people specifically to have that human interaction, that kind of like, all right, you guys good? Cool. We'll check back with you later. If it's not picking it up at the counter, just order at the counter. That's it. That's all we ask. That's all we ask. That's all we got.
We have a lot of things we want to make into catchphrases, but some can and cannot be said at this moment, but that could be one.
That's all we ask. That's
all we ask. Lazy Buffalo. That's all we ask. Like, people go, what's that mean? I don't know. We don't know either.
It doesn't matter. It's on the T-shirt. Just go with it.
Or get the Alabama sauce, or I don't know, all sorts of things.
Yep.
Just give us some time. We'll come up with something.
Okay, I like it. So, Evan, you said something interesting right off the bat. You said that for you, obviously you have to like barbecue to own a barbecue restaurant, but for you said this business is more about what barbecue does and how it brings people together. What do you think it is about? Because I agree with you.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I think maybe more so than any other food, barbecue is like a shared event. You don't really think of, I mean, I've done this, but going to a barbecue restaurant by yourself all that often. It's a place where you gather or you're getting a bunch of people together and somebody's smoking in like a backyard or something. To you, what is it about barbecue that is like this? It's like a tractor beam. It just brings people together.
Charcoal, wood, fire, just like the human experience, like from eons and eons ago, just standing around an area and watching something cook in a way that's maybe a little bit not unorthodox, but just it's just much more raw.
Yeah,
it is the most primitive form of cooking,
and just seeing the sparks, and I mean, there's just something about that for me is what creates that experience that nothing else does. And that's not cutting up on anybody. I mean, our city has barbecue, pizza, burgers, heroes, ethnic food all over that. Sushi, is just incredible. Like, everyone has their own touch, but for us, it's really, you got one guy in the back ripping that smoker every day. You got 2 or 3 pork butts, they run out, or the turkey runs out. It's not just, we're not at this point have the luxury of having overnight smoking and some of those bigger production pieces.
Yeah.
But
we don't have an overnight pit master.
Yeah, but
it's just, we're kind of just figuring it out as we go and making sure that everything is as fresh as possible. And that we have the time to tend to the fire and tend to the meat to make sure that it's where we want it to be at.
Yeah. Just standing in a circle, having a beer or having a lemonade or whatever. Just there's something about that process I think that people are drawn to. I'm drawn to a lot.
Well, and you guys have also mentioned the time component. Like, it's not like, if you go to a burger restaurant or whatever, or if you're cooking burgers in the backyard or hot dogs, whatever it might be, that can be done in 5 minutes.
Just throw another one on.
Yeah. If somebody's smoking, it's a long, slow process. So it just like naturally encourages you to slow down and just kind of hang out.
Yeah.
And, if somebody comes into Lazy Buffalo, they can still have their food within 10 minutes. That's not saying, this is going to be like a long meal, strap in. But I think just that the process of creating it somehow does it tells you you're going to slow down and just have a good time, relax. It's not about getting in and out super fast.
We want to create that atmosphere for people too, of making jokes, make them feel comfortable as soon as they walk in. And as soon as they leave, they're like coming in saying, "Oh, it was so good," or "You guys are so much fun," or like, that's the thing that, like, Evan and I look at each other in the eyes and we're just like, it's like, it's reassuring, and they're happy. That makes us happy.
Uh-huh.
And that's really, that's a huge component obviously business is a big part of it too, but then making people happy is the biggest thing, first and foremost. I think that is the trajectory for a good business plan of at least, you have a bad day, Evan makes a couple jokes, or, somebody says something silly, or there's something playing on the Bluetooth speaker of, you're going to enjoy your food a little bit more if your first initial interaction was something that was pleasant and happy.
Yeah.
And I think we do a good job of that too.
And that transcends being open or succeeding or whatever. It's just we have an opportunity to do something on our own and make people enjoy themselves. Hopefully just take that few minutes out of their day to, in a world that is seemingly falling apart in lots of ways, just trying to find 10 minutes of joy for folks.
Yeah.
I think you guys do a good job of that. I mean, you're very irreverent on social media. Like, you make a lot of jokes and stuff on there. I still remember when you guys announced that you were moving into this location, you were going to have a brick and mortar. Your picture was, I can't remember which one, but it was one of you. It said like, "We're expecting," and it looked like one of you was pregnant.
Yeah, that's Brady.
Yeah.
We had been up for a long time, I think, at that point. That was that barbecue.
That was a barbecue.
That was fun.
Contest in Blackstone.
Yeah, right where that big building
ever happened.
Now.
Yeah.
But like the first time my wife and I came, right away, you guys were just super friendly. You had us sign the door.
Oh yeah.
You were making jokes. We're looking at the menu and we're like, there's deviled eggs with Doritos on them. Like, what is going on here? It was just, before we were even served our food, it was just like, yeah, we're having a good time.
Good.
This is fun. So
that's great.
I think creating that atmosphere on top of serving great food is so important.
Yeah.
But you got to serve good food.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And you guys do that. I want to get into kind of the construction of the concept. And you guys have talked about the space. You're a little bit limited on what you can do just because that space is so small. So that might answer part of my next question. But, I think when a lot of people think of a barbecue restaurant, they're thinking brisket, they're thinking burn ends, they're thinking meat by the pound, they're thinking, cornbread, stuff like that. You guys aren't necessarily doing that. You're doing mostly sandwiches. You've got the sausage and ribs that can be ordered in a boat, but mostly sandwiches. You've got smoked bologna on the menu. You're doing turkey. Like, you're doing things that are different. Like, it's barbecue, but not in the expected way. Kind of as you guys were forming the concept of Lazy Buffalo BBQ, how did you say, let's do barbecue, but something in a bit different way than Omaha knows it?
Well, I think that was in the very beginning of, like, we knew Lazy Buffalo was going to be the name, but then do we call it barbecue? Do we call it a smokehouse? Do we call it something, a smoky sandwich shop or something?
We had a lot
like
of conversations about that,
of going back and forth between, and then barbecue just seemed like the most just line drive, easy thing to understand for people. And we have added our grateful spread, our barbecue platter back on there. That is the more traditional. You get a few sides, 3 choices of meat, couple sauces, spicy pickles, mustard, bread. So that is more traditional. But then, there's plenty of places in Omaha that do it by the pound. In my brain, in the very beginning I wanted to do kind of a barbecue version of Turkey and the Wolf in New Orleans. Are you familiar?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very, very famous sandwich spot.
Of just fun, really easygoing, kind of silly, cool sandwiches that don't quite make sense until you try them. But then putting a smoke aspect on all the proteins, and just making it fun in that way of, like, even, Block 16 of, like, that just really fun sandwiches that don't necessarily make culinary sense, but it's fun, and it kind of, people are just kind of go, wow, that's different, that's kind of fun. We would love to move into, like, selling by the pound at some point, but for right now, we'll get there. But just making really good sandwiches and, still having the true meat options just kind of flying solo by themselves. So you can taste everything without having bread or deviled egg spread or hot honey cream cheese on it. You still have that option. But yeah, at some point when we have the time and the space and the everything, we would love to move into selling stuff by the pound and doing that sort of thing too.
We just last Thursday ran our first brisket special. So I think a lot of like in my brain is kind of the operations guy. It's like we're gonna hopefully just throw a punch like that here and there. You know, like here you got brisket today, or
Kind of dip your toes in a
we
little bit.
really want to do a wing day, right? Where it's like hopefully we just can sell wings and they're really good. They're smoked. That you got the chicken option. You know, kind of flows in and out instead of maybe being an everyday option because it makes it special too in a world that and obviously and people have come to expect what they're going to order that day or whatnot. You know, if we become something where we're more lunch focused, then we can maybe, you know, change the menu in that regard, add, subtract things. But yeah, I think the opportunity, if instead of looking at it like maybe we don't offer certain things, we will start to offer them occasionally and planned so people have time to commit to it. Cause man, he was like frying egg to order to put on top of this brisket, magnificent brisket sandwich bread andouille gravy combination that he made. And it took a little bit of time to make, but it was just that extra effort that got put into the moment, you know, that people got to experience and really enjoy. So yeah, hopefully some of those traditional things can show up in our own way as specials at this point, at least.
Well, and I think that that is a huge part of being successful in the restaurant industry, especially nowadays with social media, is being able to offer something different and having specials, especially at a barbecue joint where, you know, you've got the expected things, but to be able to come out and say, hey, today we've got wings.
Right.
Today we've got this crazy eggs and brisket thing. You know, today we've got the rotating deviled egg specials.
Yeah.
Today's, you know, has crispy bacon, whatever
Right.
it might be. Like, I think that that's really important to catch somebody's eyes with social media and keep them coming back wanting more. What inspires you guys for those specials? Like, how do you come up with those?
A lot of it, I mean, family recipes, but
Yeah,
just
yep.
Brady having a lot of concocted ideas in that big old head of his. Just the comes out of the ears, and there's the
I
special.
can't even wear the Lazy Buffalo hat because it won't fit my head.
Won't fit his head.
But yeah, a lot of childhood, you know, takes on that. You know, the fun, like that brisket special was. I don't know if you'll have to edit this out, but I grew up. It was called SHIT on a shingle.
Yep.
And there's different words for that, but it was chip beef, gravy on toast. It was if you have family in the military, that was a big thing that they served to people in the service. And I grew up loving that. So like, let's do a fun twist on that and use brisket instead of the chip beef that comes in a little plastic bag at you know, let's make it fun and just kind of flip it upside down, like flip it on its head and do something similar that's still nostalgic and comforting to people, but it's not the exact same thing that, you know, your mom made or someone in your family made on a shoestring budget. Where
Right.
want to make it a little bit more fun than that.
But also, I mean, and you can correct me too here, but like people bringing up like, oh man, you guys don't got this on the menu, and then we're thinking, okay, how can we bring that on the menu for one day and see if they come out? You know, so that's how a lot of inspiration is too. Like people want wings. Some, you know, they want the chicken option on the menu too. So I think if we could swing that and nail that once a week, maybe, you know, that's how you can listen to your customers as well. Cause it's important to give people what they want too, you know, where our menu's fun and interesting and a lot of our own ideas, but we also need to be open to taking the risk for the customer too, which I think we're starting to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people are embracing that too, which is really nice so far. Of like, because it is kind of nerve wracking only being open for 3 months and running a special and being like, what's gonna happen with this?
Yep.
Are we gonna have just a bunch left? But it's worked out. People have really embraced that, and we're keeping our portions small in the specials right now. But I mean, the more and more we go, the more and more we'll make and and hopefully people just keep coming in and trying the new stuff out
Mhm.
and getting better about advertising that too, and planning stuff ahead of time. August, we're going to do a back to school special. Each week, our staff members are going to pick out their favorite childhood meal growing up, and then again, we're going to flip that upside down and just
Oh,
do something
come
fun with
on.
that.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have an example?
But Evan talked about your dad's chicken and gravy over biscuits, right?
Yeah, some in regards to that, I mean BLT for me is also one where like
Yes.
smoked tomato, man, like
Mhm.
that would be incredible. I mean, the BLT just lands, you know, it's
Mhm.
another sandwich, but maybe
Yeah.
we're just the sandwich kings for a little while. I don't
Smoked
know.
bacon.
There's nothing
But,
wrong with being sandwich
You know, I
kings.
mean, that's what I
No.
do
Yeah.
at home and in life. But yeah, a couple there, and I know you had one we were kind of workshopping. I
I'd
thought
like to do a beef stroganoff with brisket. That
Oh,
was one of my favorite things growing up.
yes.
And then Tony had talked about meatloaf that his mom made. So doing a smoked meatloaf instead, but his mom's recipe. And then Jess had talked about Crispitos that she had growing up in the cafeteria, which I did not
those
have.
long,
And there was just American like government cheese on it, sort of a thing of
they were rough, but they
doing
were
a
all right.
twist on that of just kind of doing that the entire month of August and just putting our own twist on it, making things fun, kind of going like, I remember that when I was a kid, but this is better now.
Mhm.
You know, just fun stuff like that.
I love that you guys are open-minded and you're taking feedback from employees, from customers, from just ideas that you have, and you're just like, how can we have some fun with this and maybe put a smoked spin on it? And going back to kind of what you said about the concept, Brady, I love that you compare it to Block 16, because looking at your menu, I can kind of see a similarity in that there are, when I read, like at Block 16, you read some of those menu items, especially the specials, and you're just like, what the hell is this?
What?
There's no way these 6 things are going to come together on a sandwich and work. But every time I eat there, I'm just like, I don't know how, but it works. And honestly, okay, so the first time I came into Lazy Buffalo, I'm probably like most people. My experience with bologna is cold cuts growing up, mom packing the lunch. That's not exactly a real positive memory.
Oh,
But
I still love those so much
well,
to this day.
well, good for you.
Yeah.
You're a stronger man than I.
You've got a refined palate now.
But I came in and I was looking at the menu. I asked you guys, like, what do you recommend? And you kind of walked me through it. And you pointed me to the Blackstone bologna, which is smoked mortadella deviled egg spread, pepper jack cheese, dill, and tomato on Texas toast, obviously with smoked bologna as well. I never would have ordered this on my own. Those things in my brain don't make a lot of sense together. I still don't know how mortadella deviled egg spread even goes on a sandwich.
I'll tell you
It was
why.
a fantastic sandwich.
I forgot a comma.
Oh.
Smoked mortadella, comma,
Oh.
deviled egg spread. That's how you don't know. So that's
just run with it now.
Yeah, so now we have a smoked mortadella deviled egg spread.
Yes, okay.
No, not even Block 16, guys. I don't know how they're going to do it.
Regardless, you guys pulled it.
my fault,
You guys pulled it together and made it work. Like, as you're trying to come up with, hey, we've got smoked meats. We know that we do that really well. We're going to put them in sandwich form. How do you create those combinations where it's like a wow on the menu, but then people taste it and they're just like, oh, I get it. That doesn't make sense, but it does at the same time.
It's just kind of workshopping, and also it's really getting ideas from everybody now. That it's been really nice being next to Scriptown. JP, Joseph, all the bartenders there are always like, just make us what you want.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like, that's the opportunity to go, all right, cool, this is going to be the next special. Or, we're going to do a take on this, or I just having everybody try stuff out. The taco special we just did the other night, of having Kylie and John, that father and daughter that own Scriptown, having them try stuff, just having everybody try stuff and be like, what do we need? Having Tony and Jess and Johnny, all right, cool. Let me know what you think. It takes a village to raise a restaurant. It really does. And I want those opinions, and I need those opinions. And sometimes you look at things so many times and you run out of ideas, and you need somebody else to go in and go, hey, try this. All right, cool. Salt was all I needed. Done. Or, all right, cool. It needs lemon pepper, or it needs, a little dash of Louisiana hot sauce, or, a vinegar touch to it. Is just asking and getting an opinion on that from other people. That it really is nice to have that community within to come up with better ideas.
100%.
Okay.
Couldn't say it better myself.
Another menu item I need to ask you about is the Allen Earl sandwich. This was named after your dad, Brady.
Yep.
It is smoked pulled pork, a Brooksville hotel slaw, which you can give me the story behind that if you want to or not. Pickles, fried onions, barbecue sauce on brioche. So it's a little bit tamer sandwich, but what makes this like your dad's namesake?
Just I kind of knew that would be a big seller. And my dad got me into barbecue. Of just growing up in the backyard, we would be either playing catch or throwing passes, or he'd bring just out a bowl of chips and we'd sit on the patio while he was smoking something, or just grilling something on the Weber. And that was just a fun time for us to hang out and bond. Because he'd go check his temperatures and throw a couple of passes to me, and then didn't quite. I think that really kind of hit me in college when I was actually having to cook on my own. And then that was it was really fun growing up doing that. That's a good excuse to go sit and have a bowl of chips in the patio with a bunch of buddies and do some ribs and have a couple of beers. And then that just slowly started just really getting more and more serious and inviting more and more friends over. And just a big inspiration of, he would not put all of that stuff on a pulled pork sandwich if you ask him right now. But that is one of our best sellers, and it tickles him pink seeing that whenever he's come in, seeing his name on there and hearing people behind him go, oh, I'll get the Allen Earl. He's just kind of like he loves it.
We have had people know what the Brooksville Hotel slaw is, which I don't know. I mean, I was always assuming it was like a haunted house, but maybe it still is.
Brooksville Hotel, I believe, was either in Abilene or Salina, Kansas. And so all my family's from Southwest Kansas, Texas area. But they had the best fried chicken in Kansas. And when I started dating my girlfriend, her dad made it. And I was like, Brooksville slaw? Because he's from Salina. And I was just kind of like, what? I remember going there growing up, and took the recipe. And instead of using yellow cabbage, we use red cabbage, but same exact recipe of just another nostalgic thing taken from family and just kind of made our own way. And plenty of things like that on our menu that we just take from other people and just do it our own way. And those other people are very important people to us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Family, friends, everything. Yeah.
I mean, that has been a clear through line in this conversation. You've talked about you love barbecue because it brings people together. You love smoking because it brought you together with your dad. And now, you like talking to the customers and making them feel great. You like sourcing opinions from other people on staff. Like, it's all about communication. It's all about spending time together. I mean, we've talked more in this conversation about people, far more about people than we have about food, which I'm totally okay with, because clearly that's the driving force and the inspiration behind what you guys are doing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, you have an opportunity to do something that you are designing and you put it out in the world, and then success, failure, good days, bad days, it all, the commonality, the common denominator is always going to be the people that show up. We ran out of power yesterday. The whole block was out of power for like 30 minutes. Script Town down to Night Owl, almost to Corkscrew. So we were out
Corkscrew down to Moolah.
To Moolah. And it kind of killed things. It was also 100 million degrees outside. But the folks that came in decided to come eat at Lazy Buffalo. I mean, that's one thing that I'm always reminding myself to be thankful for is you can go anywhere to consume media, food, drink, whatever. So people decide on a Friday night or a Wednesday night to walk in our door, and that means a lot, you know. And I hope we never take that for granted, you know.
Yeah.
You hope for a line down the street, you know. Across from us is Coneflower, and those guys
Always
are
seeing a line, yep.
dear friends of ours and great people, and they've put a lot of work into their product, but they also put a lot of work into, you know, like being good to the people in line. If you're in line when they close at 10 and it's down by Sullivan's, they stay open until the last person has gone through that line to experience their product, you know.
Yeah.
That's good marketing. That's good. I mean, taking advantage of your moment, but like, it's also the people. You don't have any, you can be as good as the folks that come in.
No one's getting upset about that. They still take care of every single customer that is in line
that
at that
culture of
cutoff
it.
time.
Yeah.
The culture is a big thing that we're still trying to create.
It takes a lot of time, and you know, it's just because you have good culture and a good experience doesn't mean you're going to thrive immediately either. You know, it's a lot of time. Our town is full of people. We just throw around Block 16. Like, we're lucky to have those guys in our town. And anybody that opens a business, it's hard. Anyone that takes that chance, I mean, we're lucky to have. So we're just another one of those lucky folks that had an opportunity, you know, and just lucky to be in the community we're in. Blackstone, Omaha, all of it.
Good neighborhood too for us right now. Yeah.
The foot traffic's cool. Hopefully, again, lunches I think will be a really good start for us to kind of see a difference in some things too. So.
You guys talked a lot about relationships. You said that you met in college. Let's talk about your relationship a little bit, because like my college buddies, I'm not in business with them. If I were to start a business, they would probably be some of the last people that I would talk to, because I'd be like, man, I've seen what you do, the decisions you make, man. I like you, but we're not going into business together. How did you guys not only become so close, but have that understanding that this is a person that I want to attach my future to?
Mm-hmm.
I would say it was joking around. It's the 1748 connection. Those are our county license plates. Evan grew up in York. I grew up in Cook, Nebraska. So York County and Red Willow County. And I went to school with a bunch of York guys. And then Evan was at Lincoln. I was in Omaha. And with a couple of the McCook guys up there too. And it was just similar upbringing of similar sized towns, just good people, caring people. And then I don't know, it was just pretty immediate bonding of, all right, you're part of that York crew. And, you know, you knew a lot of those McCook guys too, of like, everyone just kind of became buddies. And every time you were in town, we'd all hang out. And then you moved up to Omaha, and it just only went from there.
Just being really good friends. And, you know, especially in business, you know, you get to see each other in the weeds, in the dark corners, because not every day is light. It's a lot of wonder, and you're hoping for the best, you know. And I think a lot is just his work ethic, his you know, positivity. I mean, everyone has moments of like, oh man, like, everyone has said, what are we doing? You sure? I don't know. Are you? Who knows? But to get in the next day, you got, hey, today we're sure. And then tomorrow we'll figure out if tomorrow we're sure. So I think for us, it's there's a synergy of, we're very similar and very opposite in a lot of ways. And I think those things can really, they play off well with each other, you know.
There's a lot of trust there too.
Yeah. He's in my corner.
Do different jobs, and I trust Evan with what he's doing, and he trusts me with what I'm doing, and that's already a big, huge step in a business relationship, especially when you're friends in the first place. Of, he knows that I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I know that I don't have to text or talk to him for 2 days. I would hate that, but I know that he's going to be taking care of business too.
Always, and I think, you know, you think of success and you think of, you know, the opportunity, no matter what happens, because you can't control most of life. There's so many circumstances that can happen right now. But we both know how to handle those moments as together, you know. Like, I'm very lucky to be married to my wife, Christine, and I know we can handle those moments together He has Morgan. They can handle those moments together, and then it's just when you've got that or not, And I think we've got that here.
We're getting yeah,
man.
yeah.
I mean,
every day is a little bit better.
We're rocking and rolling, man.
Yeah,
It's gnarly.
It's crazy.
So, Evan, you mentioned you've worked at Scriptown for a decade, close to a decade. Brady, I know you've worked at several places around Omaha. What made you guys take that bold step to not just be in the service industry, but to say, I'm going to start my own concept. It's time. Let's break out and do our own thing. And B, whose idea was it to go into business together?
I mean,
I want to let you take this one right now.
we both were like, time for us to do something for ourselves.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of ego.
Sure.
You want to get out and do something.
Yeah.
You puff your chest out. Now there's also a little bit of just not stupidity, but being naive.
Naivete?
Is that the right word? Yeah.
I'm going to say it confidently so everyone believes me. Yes.
To get into business is a really heavy thing and really a lot of work. But again, I think we just decided that we needed to have a chance for ourselves. The risk we took, I think, was very well within our mental and physical scope, and we feel confident in that. But it was just time to figure out if we could, because you can't really know until you do it. And some people open a place and open another place and open another place. One first place fails, and they open another place. The second place fails, and then the fifth place is good. So we want to do this one thing right, really good.
Yeah.
And hopefully we do something no one else is doing and treat people like no one else is treating them. And that was our shot, just, that was it. Just shoot the shot. And you can't know until you get out there and try to be Michael Jordan. That's it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you get benched and you're like, all right, what I learned, everything's a life lesson. It's not even about the money you make or you don't make. Like, this is supposed to make you better for everything. And that's the hope, through the hard times and the good times. I think that's
yeah. You nailed that.
So obviously, Brady, you had memories from growing up of smoking. You've got experience in barbecue. Was barbecue, like, once you guys established we're going to break off and do our own thing, was it just immediately barbecue is the thing, or did you kind of run through some concept ideas?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. We had started doing pop-ups about 2 years previous to opening up.
Mm-hmm.
Big Dummy.
That was us.
Yeah.
We loved the name. We want to
still love the name.
We're going to bring that back some way.
In a sauce or a rub or something like that we can sell retail or who knows down the line. But yeah, a good old country song that we both loved. But when we started really getting serious about an LLC and stuff, we were like, this is not a good idea.
for a lot of
call
ways.
it Big Dummy, of like people just write a review and be like, well, no wonder they call it Big Dummy.
You guys can't even get this right.
They don't even have brisket, Big Dummy.
Plus, just
just
the idea of being dumb has always been something where it's like, that was a real thing for people, whether it be centuries ago. But it was kind of like not derogatory, but kind of like a stigma on folks, So we didn't want to place that, so we went with lazy instead of dumb,
But and that was an idea. That name was an idea for the longest time about being a bar.
Oh, we wanted to do a full thing, and we looked at a couple places and we thought about things, and we had a couple of important conversations with some friends, and it was, we were able to have an opportunity to move in, and, replacing the Momo station, who I love those folks. They've been a big part of my life. That was not easy. The shoes that they put out for us to fill. They have opportunities. They've got cattle call downtown that's opening up.
Cattle call's fantastic.
I mean, look at the building. Look at Saffron. They're involved with Saffron and Exarban and plus Momo. So they've got a lot going on for them too. And I know they're happy for us. They've signed our door. They've been into the spot. That's the culture they always brought too, is just which we're trying to continue. Burn a bridge. You just, sometimes things change and get
embrace the community,
rerouted, but yeah, I'm very happy we went with what we went with, because it's already a lot. Then you add a bar on top of a barbecue, and then staffing,
6,000 square feet.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So we're good with what we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
What's that from? Is that Dumb and Dumber?
I don't remember.
I have no idea.
You're good. Anyway.
So you
Anyway,
guys,
sorry. Yeah.
you guys decide you're doing your own thing. You're going to do a barbecue business. You start as a pop-up. It starts as Big Dummy, and then in 2023, you guys transition to Lazy Buffalo BBQ, and you were popping up all over town. You popped up at the Green Room, Omaha Dog Bar, Script Town, several other places. What do you think was beneficial about starting that way in having a couple years of pop-ups under your feet before you just open a restaurant and figure everything out, but being able to kind of have those test runs? What did you learn from those pop-ups?
I think it was, in the very beginning of already working, our normal jobs. And then that was at the time of like starting smoking at like 2 a.m. to get ready for this pop-up, and then prepping in my kitchen, or either depending where I was working at those times of like, they would let me use their kitchen space too, of like, this is a lot of work for one day. For me, that was like, okay, that's kind of a little bit of a this can we do this? Is it going to make sense? Yeah, it's going to be a lot of hard work, but then is it worth it when you sell out and everybody at Page Turner's or Green Room or Omaha Dog Bar is like just sitting there happy, and like see the eye rolls, or like like this is so, like that was worth it, of like, I want to keep seeing that. I don't care how hard the work is. I want to keep seeing people happy, people having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, some people just dive into opening places up, but I mean, nothing prepares you for it anyway. Like, we could have done
We had the hospitality experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both bartenders for a long time, and then my little bit of time actually working and operating a kitchen, and then till now to operating our own kitchen. But just the hospitality thing was, we got this in our back pocket of supplying quality food, and then creating an experience in a fun thing, even though it's just counter service of just somebody coming in there and hearing us laugh in the back of the kitchen and having a good time, of they start chuckling too. And that is the most important part.
Yeah. We could have done, again, 10, 15 more pop-ups, but it's like, you just have to at some point make the decision to, you can pop up forever. You can get a food truck. There's many ways to get this done, but I'm glad we did that, just to at least know what people would think about some of these things. We had the turkey. It was not, we called it the gobbler. It didn't have the cream cheese. It had
apple slaw
on turkey, that I remember being like, yeah, this is something that I can get behind. So I'm glad we did that for sure, just to get out in front of people for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then the lightning
just
hit.
to make sure. Wait, do we just think this food is good, or do other people think this food is good?
Does anyone actually like this?
Because there's a lot of stuff I make at home where I'm like, this is pretty good to me, but I don't think anybody else would enjoy this. But yeah, that was getting out, making sure that, like, all right, people enjoy this. People, we're having a good time. People enjoy our food. That's the first step in the door.
Yeah.
To be confident about doing it on our own, on a daily basis. Just still crazy to think about right now, but
it is.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking about it, just like staring at this thing on the wall. I mean, it is. It's just like, there are so many. It's such a learning experience to be out on your own, with nothing to help you but your own hands and head, and maybe those that are there to have to join in. It really is very grateful for it. So
I'm so fascinated because, again, in that last answer, you guys both talked about creating an experience, and everything about Lazy Buffalo BBQ so far, your interaction time with customers is much more limited than in a regular restaurant. Whether it's a pop-up or whether it's somebody ordering at the counter and then you're just delivering it to the table, you're getting maybe 2 or 3 minutes of FaceTime or time with these people. Whereas in a normal restaurant, they've got decorations all around them, the servers touching the table 6 or 7 times during the meal, maybe even the chef or owner makes an appearance. Like, there's a lot more interaction between customer and restaurant. So you guys, you've got a limited amount of time. You got to make it count.
Got to pack it in.
Yeah, you've mentioned a couple ways, but can you just maybe further unpack that? What do you guys do that you say we don't have a ton of time, but atmosphere is important? How do we maximize every second and create that atmosphere?
Kindness as they walk in, openness to help find on things on the menu. When they leave that space, and whether they're taking it to go or it's like asking questions, how their day's going, asking if they'd like to try, a sauce, getting that inclusive, like, being, because right now we're in that kind of trial phase with the sauces too. We're not, we want people to give it a shot. It's also like I'm in the main bar quite a bit bartending still. This is where a lot of I'm connected to both sides. So I'm able to touch that table and get there and talk to people and have experiences. And then the beer is a part of it too. But being in the spot is hard. I've also thought, never really mentioned this, but John Wilwarding was in the other day and he had this old camera, which whether or not it's an old camera or not, but like having a photos, that corner would be great for photos. Hey, get a picture, then we get a board, you put your picture on the board.
Oh, I like that.
So like I'm in there.
You're a piece of the restaurant now.
I'm in there, even if I'm only in there for 40 seconds and they're busy and can't come talk to me like a whole bunch of times. So that's one extra way we've discussed. And then just having the bartenders checking and we're checking. It's important to make those rounds. Brady stops out in his apron and
I want to. I love being behind the kitchen too, but I really want to know what you think. And then going back to what you said too, just of kindness and people first walking in of we don't have so we've got 2 people that work the counter, Jess and Johnny. We don't have a script for them. They're just naturally good at what they do. And when people come in, we legitimately, how's your day going? It's not just like, all right, cool. Whatever.
Hello, my name is Evan and I will be taking care of you today. Today's special is no special, and tomorrow we're closed because it's Tuesday.
It is. We kind of let everybody be their own people and engage with people in their own way, and that has worked really good for us so far. Because that is the first thing. Somebody comes in tense, and somebody says, "Hey, how's your day going?" "Oh, great." How and then somebody makes a joke, and then it's like that person, you can just see their shoulders go, sweet. Now I can go sit down and just enjoy good food. And that is, we legitimately want to know, and we really do care. And I know probably 90% of restaurants and bars and stuff really do feel that same way. But it's not it's not a script. It's not a thing that we're like, you have to say this and like and
it doesn't get as diluted when you only have 5 people,
small,
because then you feel like you're not ever impacting enough if you're not there, But I think we do the best we can with that. And then outreach, at some point I'd love to do more volunteering and throwing volunteer events, maybe doing like a philanthropic event instead of capital. I mean, of course you're going to sell food, but finding a cause that we can really get behind together and giving back. So that's how it's impacting them, and instead of just having time to shake hands all the time, So.
First social media post was April 3rd, 2021.
Oh man.
January 2nd of 2024 was the day that you guys announced you were opening the brick and mortar. So you operated for about 2.5 years as a pop-up. How did the opportunity to move into that Blackstone location arise, and how did you know that this was the right place at the right time?
So the Momo station had a lease that was ending, and I think that there was a general consensus that we just wanted to have something, a kitchen that was more collaborative with the bar. And I think everybody involved in all of this would agree that happy hour experience, collaborative moments, we wanted at Scriptown. John, the owner, and myself and Kylie and all of us wanted more collaboration with a tenant in that room. So we have an opportunity, because of my experience there, the connection, to have those moments. So it was small. The rent is affordable. Obviously, there's so many other different expenses with cost of goods and labor and all that. But it was just, we looked at each other and went like, okay,
Is this it?
This is not $275,000.
Yeah.
Because I would not, I don't know how, couldn't do that. There's a lot of people. John Farr, I'll just drop his name right now. He took a big risk and worked his butt off to get where he is, and it was not, he really took one of those life risks, and I learned from that moment. But I think again, everybody involved on both sides of the wall were just, it was just time for a more collaboration. Plus, beer and barbecue just,
simpatico.
match.
That's why we're really trying that. I mean, that combo is gonna hit at some point. It's just finding the right times to be open, the right times to 9:30 p.m. barbecue or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. To me, I'm visualizing the line out the door at Oklahoma Joe's or Joe's Kansas City barbecue in Kansas City, or Slaps barbecue or Goldie's, or all the places that have lines. It's lunchtime. So, but that's how we got the spot and how we were lucky enough to take over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, April 10th. That was your first day open. You guys have talked a little bit about the soft opening. Tell me about the first day open. Like, when I bring that date up, what's the first memory that pops to the front of your brain?
We were on. I thought we were on.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "Oh, how long you been open?" A day. You're like, what? Like, yeah, last week was our soft opening. That soft opening, we took a lot of. The food was good. We learned about the service. We just, at this point now, we could probably do order at the bar, but it just was not. It was not going to work with tips and finances, and it just gets messy with two businesses. So we thought, hey, back, just find the counter.
Keep it simple.
But I don't know. It was fun. Because again, you're right away, you're just busy, and people are coming in, and you're back and forth with each other, and you're learning, and people are kind of seeing the symbiotic relationships that are trying to happen here with Script Town and us. And that was a joyous moment for me.
Yeah.
That first week, 2 weeks.
Yes,
I mean, it's always joyous, but then things change, it gets real. You got to keep finding ways to grow. So yeah, that's how I felt about the first couple of days and
Nailed
weeks.
that too. Of like, it was a little crazy.
Ticket times were short.
I think, yeah,
10 or 15 minutes. People were coming in, getting it to go, having it for here. So we got to have the full spectrum of service.
I think we still had to close a day,
A couple days in there, yeah.
in there too, of like just keeping track of pars in the very beginning of like, nobody wants 3-day-old barbecue. Nobody wants 2-day-old barbecue.
Mm-mm.
Of I'd rather sell out in the very beginning than serve somebody something that I'm not proud of, that we're not proud of. And so that took a little bit. And then just, I think, time management and everything of like, we finally got into a little bit of a groove now. I feel like that is almost those first 3 weeks. I think I've blacked out a little bit
100%.
of just of like, things are better now. So, they weren't even mistakes. We thought this was the right thing to do, and it wasn't. And we pivoted. And that is also the thing that I think we understand too, of no matter what we want to do, what we do is dictated by our guests and the people that come in. Of, if we need to change things, we don't need to be stubborn. We change things for the most part. There are some things that, you just have to do it the way that we're going to do it. But
I always go back to the story of this person, and having a gluten intolerance is very serious and very, very good. Where we want to be cognizant and having options for people in all sorts of ways. But if you have to know Tony in the back, to know him is to love him. Do you guys have anything gluten free? And all he said was, "Nah, we're pretty gluten full." Because we got bread, we got potatoes, we got what? It was just,
we're pretty gluten. He said it in the sweetest way possible.
He was. Now we're pretty gluten full. But man, yeah,
but for the most part, yeah. To just always be pivoting and adjusting to create a better service, a better product, a better atmosphere for us as employees, owners, whatever, and just constantly trying to every day a little bit better, incrementally better every day.
I want to hit on the idea of pivoting because you guys have brought that up several times throughout, this conversation, whether it's hours of operation, whether it's ordering style, whether it's menu items. I mean, so many times it's just been, okay, this wasn't how we imagined it originally, but this is reality. So we've got to change things a little bit. As business owners and restaurant owners specifically, how do you create the boundaries to say these are the tenets upon which our business is built? These things cannot change. These are um, this is the foundation. Yes,
yeah.
this is the foundation of what we have. Versus these are the things that are a little bit more malleable. That maybe they're not going to go exactly like we planned originally, but we can pivot these and still have a successful business while maintaining the core of what we wanted to build.
So you're saying what's the difference, or how are we finding the balance between the two?
Yes. Basically, how do you identify these are the things we will not negotiate on, we can't change because this is the core of our business, versus these are the things that, yeah, let's shift that. Let's try something new today.
Great question.
I mean, there's a ton of things that we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't have the space or the
manpower,
the hours to hire another person to do those things. But then a lot of the things too are, if someone makes a recommendation, I've written a lot of those things down.
Mm-hmm.
I write everything down, not in my phone. Evan can make fun of me all day long. I've got notes everywhere to the point where it's probably causing him
I gotta go find legal pad 4.7a. I believe it might be under my bed. It's like, sure, okay, go find it.
No, but of those ideas that when we can get to it, yeah, we'll change and adjust those things. But I honestly don't think. I mean, other than just smoking meat, I mean, we're not going to start serving Greek yogurt, or like. We already tried the salad. That didn't work out.
This guy came in and was like, hey, you guys got ribs? Yeah. You guys have salad? Oh, it ran out. All right, man. I'll see you. Okay.
It's a big difference.
But I mean, the pillars, I mean, a lot of the things that are core are values. Again, kindness is never going to change, I hope. Having a really cool aesthetic when you walk into the left with the buffalo head and the stickers and the shirts and hats. I hope that won't ever change. That's part of it. I mean, maybe the branding and things, the way it looks once in a while for some fun. Some of the core items that we're learning are core. Yeah, but I mean, I think to be creative is to always be throwing new things out. So the menu's always going to have some changes. Specials are going to be big, I think. Again, having some of those things day to day, man, it's hard. I mean, I was at times confused in the beginning why we couldn't have things. Then I had to stop and think, okay, like there's literally 2 prep tables here to put stuff on. Like, how are we going to do this? How do we utilize our space? So, yeah, I guess it's just the things that if you got an instinct about something that it should move around, like you can't move everything around all the time. If we changed our menu every week and we're taking the Allen Earl off and changing, I think we'd be working too hard. But there's some things that like you just get the instinct, it's like the last second shot.
Yeah.
Like, do I need to take this or not? Like, yes, or pass it, or or let's let it think for a minute. So yeah, just a lot of that instinct comes with doing something every single day, thinking about it all the time. So that's it.
I think a lot of it, yeah, we'll also still too of like, if a guest comes in and has an idea, write it down. Also too, send me your granny's recipe. Send me something that makes you happy. Like, we'll try and do it. I've always taken those things and trying to do it in our own way. There's nothing that we're stuck on. We'll probably change things around in the fall on sides and stuff, but there's really nothing that I said other than the proteins. We can always switch the sandwiches around and add new things to that, but other than just, yes, here's smoked meat and we're going to have fun with it in our own way. But I don't think we're not planted in one specific thing that we're like, oh, we have to do it this way,
Yeah, we're hoping we find the balance between, again, like you can't switch it up all the time, and then being creative with folks so they can because the folks that come in all the time are great regulars, but even they want try something different. So so keeping the folks that come in all the time happy and fed in different ways, just creativity. Because again, this is just an opportunity. This is we're very, very lucky to have even a chance to do it. A lot of people want to think they can or can't, but we're just very lucky to be able to wake up every day and be owners right now, and then be doing this.
Yeah.
That flows perfectly as a segue into my last question, because we're a little bit up against the clock here, but I can't let you guys out of here without asking this. Because one of the reasons I was so excited about this concept is A, I love barbecue. B, I've known you guys' names just from working at different places around Omaha for several years. Like, you guys have been, your names pop up frequently in conversations just throughout. So when I saw it was you guys opening this, I was like, sweet.
Oh,
This,
neat.
like, this is really cool. These guys are getting to do their own thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're talking probably 2 decades of restaurant or, bar experience here. Now that you got, I mean, like, you've worked for other people for a long time. Now you've got your own thing. I was going to say,
it still makes my hair
as
stand
you
up a
look
little
back
bit,
at the
yeah.
last 3 months, like, have you even been able to fully process that, or what does that feel like?
You kind of have to force yourself to pat yourself on the back and also pat each other on the back. Of it's easier said than done, but yeah, there are certain times where it is that human interaction that it comes back to, of like, I kind of think about like golf. Evan doesn't golf, but if I play 18 holes and I hit 2 good shots or 1 good shot, I had a good day.
Yep.
Even though I hit, I'm not even going to put a number out there, but let's say hundreds of other shots that just were not great shots, of the 2 best ones kept me coming back. And that is kind of that how I view things, of when money's hard, or my body's just broken down, or I've got to go run errands or depot or whatever on my day off, or something came in wrong, it's the 2 good shots. It's the so-and-so and so-and-so, or the people that got their food when we were busy one night, and they, instead of getting their food in 10 minutes, they got it in 25, and Evan went and took care of them, made a joke, made them happy, and they still came back in and said, everything was great. That's a good shot. That's a good shot. That is what I have to keep telling myself of, this is what it is. And if we keep doing this, those 2 shots are going to turn into 5 shots. Those 5 good shots are going to turn in, and all of a sudden we're going to be at par. We're going to be hitting bogeys or birdies.
I don't know.
No bogeys, birdies all day long.
All I know is eagle, man.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll get to eagles
hole in
soon.
one every day. Just kidding.
But yeah, just a few good things to keep a positive mind, and yeah, just constantly being cheerleaders to ourselves and our staff, and making sure they're happy. If they're happy, we're happy. And if everyone's happy, we're all happy.
Man, you want to talk about goosebumps? That was a beautiful analogy, man. That was incredible.
Yeah, and I don't want to take too much of anyone's time, but just the mindfulness and being in the moment and controlling what you can control that day. It's so cliche, but it's like when you look too far ahead of things, it can be very scary, dark, and like, because especially when you're new and you're just trying to pay your bills every week. You're trying to make things happen. You're trying to be interesting. You're trying to keep going every week. But no, I think he lives what he just described. He lives a lot. When I've been around him, and this is even for better or for worse. Sometimes you have to look at the shots you miss and analyze them and go, what did we not do? But the core is, if you add up and multiply positive shots, they just continue to grow. So it's like the balance between positivity and realism, and being real, is saying we got to make sure this is happening, versus also saying and acknowledging, look what you've done and keep doing it. And I think that's where we both,
look what we've done.
We both do
all
that
of us
together, and that's where the yins and the yangs and the ups and all cross over.
Yep.
So yeah. You ever heard of Nardwuar? He's a music critic, Canadian. And he does reviews, and you should look him up. He does Snoop Dogg. He's done rock and rollers, world music, but you remind me of Nardwuar because you just like you dig into people's worlds and you ask good questions. Like he's
oh boy,
not. I mean, he is very, very popular and very cool.
Okay, he looks like an interesting guy. I'm gonna need to work on the hair to get on this level.
You just be your own Nardwuar.
Okay,
be yourself. You dive into the questions and you do a good job.
You've done your research.
Like you went back and told us when we opened. We're like, oh,
I didn't even know.
Okay, sure. But he'll find a family heirloom that was gone, and no one knows how he finds it. It's more of a
Sean Evans, a hot one.
I was going to say that too.
That's like
he's
my
one of the
idol.
Best.
That dude is unbelievable,
and he blows people's minds too. And very impressive.
That was a compliment.
Thank you.
Nardwuar is
they are both in similar. Him and Sean Evans are both in similar wheelhouses of like, you guys really did your research.
Like he and Tyler, the creator,
right
that one
too.
is so funny. It's almost too much, but. Anyway,
well, the only I loved everything about this conversation. My only regret is I feel like I didn't do a good enough job as a podcast host at highlighting the food enough, because like we talk so much about experience and everything. People, you need to get into Lazy Buffalo BBQ because the food is excellent. Like even if these guys were total jerks and they treated you like crap and they just threw your tray on the table and they're like, all right, eat it, enjoy it or not, I would still go back here because the food is that good. But you can go and get great food and have a great experience as well. So Evan and Brady, thank you so much for coming and waxing poetic and just dropping all kinds of great knowledge and just telling a little bit of your story and introducing people. I love when you can eat something and not just eat it and appreciate it for what it is, but understand the story behind it and the people who created it. And I think you guys did a really good job doing that today. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
As always. Thank you for what you do.
Cheers, buddy.
Omaha, as always, thanks for eating with us.